Alright guys, so I built a custom set of seat brackets for the two-door hardtop. I had used, out of the 3 sets of seat brackets that are made for Tri-5s, this is the lowest set. And that they would not go back far enough and they wouldn't go down low enough, obviously, but it just, for me, fitting in the car, it didn't fit me. So I just decided to go ahead and scrap a pair of seat brackets that I had. I had one seat bracket in my shed that the whole lower base of this was gone. It was rusted away in some of the front. Anyway, I had another one that all the roller and the ball bearing stuff was broken in, so the top piece was loose from the bottom. It like shook and rattled around. So I basically stripped them apart and just used the upper brackets. That way they bolt to the seat. And anyway, I used square tubing going down on front and back, welded everything up. I tacked it all first to check fit, and then after I verified that I fit in the car real nice and my wife fit real nice, I plated it all in. I used some pretty thick stuff, but they're pretty heavy. But anyway, I just got done shooting them with some Duplicolor truck bed coating, and the reason I did, some of the plate that I used is just scrap stuff. It was pretty rough stuff, had a lot of sand scratches in it and stuff, so instead of trying to make them real nice by priming them and blocking them and all that, I just shot them. So I used some aerosol sim etch primer on them, and then just went right over them with that truck bed coating. But that's 2 good heavy coats of that stuff. But anyway, that's a pretty noticeable difference. If you right here's the rear, so if I line up the bolt holes, that's well, I've got these actually setting on steel so I could get paint under there, but if I set that up there, bolt hole to bolt hole, that is how much lower and further back they are. If you can see that, this seat bracket's as far back as it'll go, and that's the lowest of the 3 brackets that they made for Tri-5s. And they're still, I have really long legs, and so does my wife, but it just wasn't enough. It was hard to get in and out of the car because of the steering wheel, and also when it felt like my head was way up inside the headliner. So they don't move. They're not going to be, you know, the seat's not going to be adjustable, and I'm good with that because I don't really care. It's my car. There ain't nobody else going to be driving it anyway except me and my wife. But that's the thing about my wife and I, is we never have to adjust each other's seats when we drive our cars, because the only thing we have to adjust is our rear view mirror. Her legs are almost as long as mine, so it works out pretty good. But I dropped them basically an inch lower and then moved it back 2 5/16 of an inch, and I used a bunch of heavy plate stuff. But anyway, they turned out pretty good. I didn't try to make them perfection, you know. You don't see a bit of them. The seat is so low in the car now that you can't even see those at all. You'd have to literally put your head way up underneath the back of the seat to see those. So that's why they didn't have to be perfection, but they are pretty stout and they are pretty heavy, so they should work pretty good. The coolest part is, you know, 40, 50 years down the road, whenever, you know, when I'm gone and the car belongs to somebody else, if they ever need to change the seat brackets out, all they got to do is unbolt the 2 bolts out of each bracket and put the factory stuff back in. So I think that's pretty awesome. But anyway, I'm gonna let them sit here and tack up a little bit more. They're still just a little bit sticky. I'll be bolting these on the seat tomorrow and putting the seat back in the car, and then it should be really enjoyable to drive now. So I'm pretty happy about that. Anyway, all right guys, so I got the seat put back in the car after I made those custom made seat brackets here. So I can't I can't explain it. I love it. I fit in the car. It's comfortable, so I'm happy about it. My wife fits it as well. But now I'm ready to get out and drive it a little bit, and that's exactly what I'm going to do tomorrow. So tomorrow's supposed to be high 60s on temp and sunny, and so I'm going to, early in the morning, I'm going to clean up the car real good, get it wiped down, get it waxed, armor all the tires. I did the interior today. The interior's done. So anyway, I'm going to take it out and drive it a little bit tomorrow and enjoy it. So I've still got to do the seat shells. I don't have them put on yet. Right now I'm just kind of mocked up the seat belt here. I did have to paint this. So I've got the seat shells to do and put them in. And then I've got to paint one more seat belt, and then the interior is done. So it's like done. And I'm really happy about that. So I've got these seat belts here, and I've got a retractor on this outside, and then I've got a standard inside belt that's actually bolted to the seat. I welded anchors into the seat frame. But anyway, I got these seat belts probably back in, oh man, I don't even know, 2015, 16, 17, somewhere in there. I got these from Giuliano's Hot Rod Parts. They're not a sponsor, I had to pay for them, but it's Giuliano's Hot Rod Parts. They have an advertisement in this month's Good Guys Gazette. So anyway, they have other parts, but they also specialize in seat belts. Now you can choose from all kinds of different colors and the way you want your belts. You can have a retractor, 2-point, 3-point, whatever you want. You can even have the inside, your button section, you can do whatever you want. Push button, the old pull lock style, pull latch style. Anyway, there's a lot of choices on there. So what I went with was a retractor on the outside. It has a bracket off the bottom here, you can see that you put a bolt through. Anyway, I went with a, stupid microphone hook won't stay hooked. I went with a seat belt that, this is what would have come in the later 70s to the early-ish 80s GM vehicles. It is a chrome back, but it has a brush finish upper plate, but it has the GM Mark of Excellence logo in the middle right here. Anyway, it's my favorite belt. It's probably because I'm into G-bodies as well, but anyway, it's my favorite belt. It's a push button, so it's easy to latch and get it undone. I don't have to, mess with that deal. The reason that I like a retractor belt on the outside is if you just have a lap belt here and here, you have a tendency to have a lap belt that falls out of the car and you close the door and it's hanging out. It chips up your rocker, it chips or scratches up your sill plate. So you have to get into the habit of, when you undo your lap belt, to lay it down in the floor before you get out of the car. So the retractor is just the easiest way to go. Another reason that I like the retractor belt with a bench seat, my wife sometimes rides in the center like she actually loves me. So I can take this retractor belt and extend it all the way over both of us and hook it into the latch on the other side. Whether it's safe or not, don't know, don't care, but technically have a seatbelt on. At that point, she's not going to fly through the windshield, you know what I mean? So a 3-point seatbelt would be better, it'd be more safe, but I have a 2-door hardtop, so when this window's down and the door window's down, there's no post here. Now on her 4-door 55, I have a video of that. I got 3-point universal seat belts for that car, and I welded anchor plates in the B-pillar top and bottom. And I actually fit her in the car before I figured out where the upper plate bolts to. Because if you get a 3-point seat belt too high, it'll go right across your neck. So, and it'll rub your skin raw on a long drive, and also if you have an accident, it's liable to break your neck. So if you're going to put 3-point belts in your car, test fit yourself and figure out where that's going to go. So I fit her in the car. But anyway, I'm not doing 3-point seat belts in a hardtop because you would see that coming down, and also it's too high, it's going to go across my neck. If I have some kind of drop down garbage sticking down here to get the belt down lower, it's just more ugliness to look at through the side of the car. Another reason why I don't like bucket seats in these cars, because most of the time they have a headrest, and I don't like headrests in Tri-5s. That's just me. But anyway, so this is the setup. This is what I did. Now, on the belts on the seat, I didn't just drill a hole in the seat frame and put a nut and a bolt in it, because that would not be safe. The metal that the seat frame is made out of is not super thick. So I took 3/16 plate and I cut out some long skinny strips. I welded a big hole in the center for the belt, for the bolt, which I also have 12-point ARPs in that. But I took a flange nut and welded it to the back side of that strap piece that I cut out, I drilled 2 3/8 size holes on each side, so that is on the inside of the seat frame. I perimeter welded it and plug welded it with the 2 3/8 holes. So it actually has a nut plate welded into the seat frame. So all I got to do is stick the bolt through the seat belt and bolt it right on there. But that makes it a lot more safe. Now again, just with lap belts, you're going to eat a dashboard or eat a steering wheel in my case. It's just the way it is. But on her car in particular, it's going to have 3 points in it. Anyway, the ones I got for her car just from eBay, they're universal black. They were very inexpensive. I don't remember the seller, Expeding Rods or something like that. It was kind of an odd name. Very, very inexpensive. And they said they actually listed them. I put in universal in the search, I remember that. But it says they're for like an older Jeep. So anyway, pretty inexpensive. So seat belts are not that far out. But that is pretty much a setup. I will tell you, if you have a salvage in your area that still has 70s and 80s GM vehicles in it, you might check the rear seat, like pull the rear seat bottom out, like on a Caprice or a LeSabre, even a Malibu or a Monte Carlo or Regal or Cutlass. Those late 70s A and G body cars and the B body cars, they had seat belts that are retractors. They don't have a shoulder on them like this. And they have a stationary belt like that bolted to the floor underneath the rear seat, and that's what I have used for years on my Tri-5s, is the rear seat belts from those cars. So you could do that if you wanted to. Problem is, around here most of the G bodies and B bodies are not in my local salvage yards anymore. It's all newer stuff. So anyway, those seat belts are, I don't think they're too far out there on price, but anyway, I fit in the car and I love it. So these seat belts, I didn't like the color. They're more of a gray than a black. I mean, they are black, but they just scratch so easy, man, and they don't look nice. So I Scotch-Brited them down with a gray Scotch-Brite, wiped them down with wax and grease remover, I tack-ragged them, and then I shot them with Sim Landau Black out of the aerosol can. That Landau Black is not gloss black like hardware store gloss black paint on plastic. It wouldn't look right. You always need to use a low gloss paint on plastic to make it look like plastic when it dries. Otherwise, it looks like you just went in there and spray painted it with gloss black paint. Anyway, I fit in the car now. I love it. It's really, really nice. As you can see, sitting in here, or even getting in the car, I get in it easier. I'm very comfortable with my arms and the rule. Got to do the rule with the arm out the window. That's the rule. I fit very well. I'm comfortable, and that's all that matters. I can't believe I had to move the seat back 2 5/16 of an inch and then drop it an inch to get me to fit in this car, but it's most likely because it's a hardtop. And I don't even have the flippers in yet. They're going to drop down probably an inch. But before, I was too close to the steering wheel. I was too close to the, my legs here. Getting in and out was a pain. And also when I turned to the side, all I seen was the roof right here. So at least now I can look out the window and out all these windows. But I'm very comfortable. My legs bent. My wife's legs are bent actually when she gets in here, and my foot's on the gas pedal. So I'm happy, man. It's the perfect combination. So that's what I like about retractor belts. Clip and done. I don't have to do none of this grab hold of it, pull it apart, lay a belt down in the floor, and then get out of the car and hope it doesn't fall out and I shut it in the door. So anyway, guys, that's pretty much it. Seatbelt's in. So tomorrow, well, seatbelt's not in, but you get what I'm saying. I got to take it back out to do the seat shell, and then I can bolt it back on. But I still have to paint the other seatbelt outside, as you can see by the 2 color difference there. But I'm going to put a little bit of time on the car tomorrow and take it out and drive it and see how it does. As far as drivability, it seems to be okay, but I need to put more miles on it, you know what I mean? Anyway, guys, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching.